and all the suffering indigenous populations in the damnable zoological republic are set free. Chineke na nke pụrụ m ihe niile Chukwu okike abịa onye na-efe na aja aha nsọ ya mma mgbe niile. Onye ọbụla na ya na-achị eluigwe n'ụwa na-agba akaebe ịhụnanya gị na ebere gị amara gị n'ọmịiko gị ebe ndị gị na-eze ebede ngọzi. Anyị wee na-etoghị agbanyeghị atụmatụ ọjọọ niile nke ndị iro. Iwe nye anyị ndụ ala nke dị n'uwere n'ụbọchị nke taa. Anyị wee na-asị na ịja mma niile otu niile dịrị aha nsọ gị. Onye ọbụla anyị aka ike niile na ọ gbadara aka ya. Anyị wee na-akpọku gị na-asị gị na nke ọma anyị ga-ekele gị nke ọjọọ ma anyị kelee gị. Anyị wee na-aja gị mma wee na-eto gị wee na-asọpụrụ gị n'isi ụmụ gị niile bụ ndị ikwu ndị wee ezi oku mgbe a kpọrọ ha ka ha wee chekwaa ala nsọ gị bụ Biafra onye nwe m na Chineke na ihe n'ikpere anyị nkwa na o mekataghị ka ndị iro wee were ala nsọ Biafra onye nwe m na Chineke na nke bi n'igwe agbanyeghị atụmatụ ọjọọ niile nke ndị iro ma ndị na-agba mgbagba ebe niile dị iche iche onye nwe m na Chineke nna n'ihere bụ nke ndị dị etu a n'ụbọchị nke taa. Anyị wee na-eto gị wee na-asị onye nwe anyị na Chineke nna nke pụrụ m ihe niile onye ọbụla anyị a na-azọpụta onye ọ bụ naanị ya bụ okwu ya niile bụ ihe na amen. Anyị wee na-asị ezi ebube dị ngọzi na ọtụtụ na ịja mma na nsọpụrụ site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi. Ise ise ise.
Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are joining from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed. If you are joining me from Africa, Asia, Europe, America, Australia, or any part of the world, I thank you very much for your contribution. Please, each time you watch my video, go to the comment section and put down your comments. That is where we learn from each other. We learn a lot from the comment section. I don't speak alone. I am speaking with you. You can equally contribute. You can criticize if you so desire, but do it constructively so that we can learn from one another. That is why we are here. Thank you so much for joining. Remember, you have to say what is happening in your own area. Whatever happens, if you see something, say something. Don't be silent. We cannot allow the conventional media to continue to change the narrative. We cannot allow the conventional media to continue to play down the situation. We will continue to bring the situation the way it is and say it straight the way it is without hating anybody. We are not preaching hate speech. We are not talking down anybody. We say leave and let's leave. And for those who say we will not leave, just like the Fulani Janjaweed have said, they will not leave either.
Thank you very much, gentlemen of the press. My dear good people of Lagos State, it is with a great sense of responsibility that I address you today on the reactions that have trailed the release of the Endsars Judicial Panel of Inquiry report submitted to me exactly about 2 weeks ago, and how it has played out in the public discourse since then. I believe, and I've always been vocal about this, that we owe it to you, the people of Lagos, to constantly speak and engage with you in easy times, in difficult circumstances. We will never shy away from making our case to you, whilst we're also ensuring that we listen to you. I'll start by saying that we, as an administration, are determined that the next steps that will be taken in this process of coming to terms with the event of October 2020 must bring closure to a painful episode in the history of our state with the release of a white paper later today. This, in my view, is a moment that beckons for us to define who and what we are as a people. To be a center of excellence, we must be a center of truth. To be a smart city, we must be a just one. To be a prosperous state, we must establish ourselves as a peaceful entity. And to achieve the greater Lagos of our dreams, we must learn to live in harmony, even amidst inevitable disagreements in times like this. With anger and animosity too quick and fast at hand, it is easy to hide behind our own prejudices, treating them as deeper truths instead of the superficial lies that they are. It is far too easy to take sides and to choose emotion over facts, even when the truth is to be found in the shades of nuance. It is easy to choose darkness over light, to take perverse delight in playing unhelpful games of cynicism and suspicion, to cling to beliefs that do not carry the weight of verifiable evidences. To become a champion of prejudices is to own a fleeting and a false victory. It is a victory of rancor over reason, of vengeance over justice, of anger over compassion. Today, I stand before you to declare that I reject this path, and I invite you all to do the same. The choice confronting us today is between restoring a greater harmony or doing a greater harm. I choose harmony over harm. As your governor, it is my task to explain why all Lagosians should join me on this path that promises a more beneficial future to all. Fellow Lagosians, let me at this point bring to fore some of our very important contexts that we must never lose sight of. You will recall that the Judicial Panel of Inquiry was originally inaugurated to investigate allegations of police brutality which were committed by the disbanded Endsars in Lagos State. It was in the aftermath of what happened on October 20, 2020, that I decided to expand the mandate of the panel to include investigating what really happened at the night at Lekki Toll Plaza. As a matter of good faith and a sincere commitment to uncovering the truth, we constituted a panel of individuals that we believe were independent, were credible, and representative of the various stakeholder community interested in the movement against police brutality. Apart from the chairman of the panel being a respected retired jurist, various stakeholders, including the youth, Endsars protesters themselves, the police, and civil society groups were all represented on the panel. I'm sure no member of the panel can claim that the state government made any attempt to influence them in any way throughout the duration of its sitting. While I commend the panel for undertaking its tasks to the best of its abilities, it is however regrettable that the panel's work and the leakage of an unauthorized version of the report has generated tension. Sadly, a deep wound has been reopened. The heated exchanges among various shades of opinion on the report have unfortunately put us at the risk of meeting the larger picture. The fact that what we all seek is common, is a land in which we're all safe and secure. Law enforcement agents are trusted and justice is guaranteed for all. As I've stated earlier, we have no intention to engage in histrionics or further inflame the passion on a matter that has generated intense interest and conversation, both nationally and internationally. Our decision and our actions will be based entirely on the law, the weight of evidence, and an unblemished respect for the truth. Let me at this junction say that I have never been in any doubt as to the sincerity, the patriotism, and the noble motivations of both the organizers of and the participants in the movement to an end of the human rights abuses by the now disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS. It is also on record that the federal government accepted all the demands of the protesters, including the immediate scrapping of SARS. The National Economic Council, NEC, also recommended the establishment of state panels of inquiry into cases of police brutality. And the Lagos State government was the very first to set up its own panel. I can boldly say that no state took the advocacy of police reform and justice in the face of the documented brutality more seriously than we did in Lagos. We have so far paid over 400 million in the compensation to victims of police brutality, in line with the recommendations of the panel. My good people of Lagos State, you will also recall that in solidarity with the protesters, I joined the youth at various points during the demonstration, particularly at the Lekki Toll Plaza and in Alausa. I received the charter of demands of the protesters and promised to pass them to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Muhammadu Buhari. I kept my words and I passed on the demands to the President, who promised to act promptly on the issues raised. However, perhaps as a result of the entrenched lack of trust between government and the governed over the years, the protesters responded to government's concessions with skepticism, and the demonstrators continued, even growing in intensity. Regrettably, what had been very well organized and a peaceful protest were subsequently hijacked in different parts of the country, particularly in Lagos. In the ensuing descent into anarchy, many of our compatriots were caught up in the violence. Several policemen were killed. Public and private property, including critical infrastructure, were set on fire, leading to losses estimated into several billions of naira. At that point, I imposed a curfew to restore normalcy in Lagos. We had only one goal in mind, which is the maintenance of law and order and the protection of citizens going about their daily lives. This is more than a legal duty. It is a sacred obligation under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which I swore to uphold. In my inaugural speech as your governor on the 29th of May, 2019, I said, and I quote, "Let us explore how we can establish a harmony of interests and avoid the growing tendencies to focus on those things that differentiate and divide one Lagosian from another. By dint of providence, this small tract of land, intersected and surrounded by waterways and lagoons, has become home to roughly 22 million people with their various dreams and aspirations." End of quote. It's therefore my earnest desire that all of us, the government, the youth, the protesters, the police, and other security agencies learn the appropriate lesson from the Endsars protests, particularly the Lekki Toll incident, with a view to averting any reoccurrence to the detriment of our dear state. It is a testimony to our strength and to our resilience as a people that despite the huge losses incurred because of these terrible incidents, we have bounced back with our economy as vibrant, as viral as ever. I have no doubt whatsoever that our prospects are as bright as ever and that the best lies ahead of us in Lagos State and in Nigeria.
let's turn to Paul Ejime, who is a global affairs expert and, of course, a very senior journalist. Thanks very much, Paul. First, maybe before we discuss the ECOWAS court, concerns, ECOWAS generally, the CSOs just finished, a consultative meeting, so to speak, in Dakar, Senegal. You were part of it. What were some of the resolutions? What were some of the troubling issues that you sat down to articulate?
So, thank you for having me, and good evening, viewers. Yeah, I was there as a resource person, and they looked at a wide range of issues, including the institutional reform at the ECOWAS that you are talking about, and the fact that the organization seems to be losing relevance and confidence of the community members or citizens because of ineffectiveness. And they came out with
is it sorry, Paul, is it as a result of poor leadership or unwieldiness of the commission, overstaffed, as some people would say, it's lean resources going to pay overhead costs, and no great institutional development, that will interlink or drive development in the sub-region? Are those some of the issues?
It's a combination of all what you have mentioned, and particularly leadership. Because here we are, if you have a place that does not have a visionary leader that can, be proactive and then not reactive, not wait until things overwhelm before you respond, that is going to create a problem. ECOWAS used to be of all the regional economic communities, ECOWAS was on top because of this, its proactivity. Remember the Liberian Civil War, the Sierra Leone, Guinea, all over. But for the past 10 years, I think there has been a dampener on that. And it has to do with leadership and also the fact, but remember too, that an organization can only be as strong as its weakest member. So if all the members are having difficulties, security, poverty, and all sorts, that will impact what ECOWAS as an organization can do. So, but on the wilderness that you mentioned, I think for whatever reason, they woke up, how many years ago, it was 9 commissioners, and then they moved it to 15. Saying that all the 15 members must have a commissioner. That was, I don't know how they arrived at that, because was it to bring, to promote commissioners? It was to, execute community projects that will impact the lives of almost 400 million people in the sub-region.
And these are some of the issues you looked at in Dakar.
Exactly. So they now said they are coming back. I think the CSO said that ECOWAS does not need any more than 6 commissioners. But I also know that the Council of Ministers, they have recommended 7 commissioners. So, well, if they are saying 6 and then there is 7, it's a good beginning. But that alone can also not do the magic. It will also depend on the character and then the efficiency of those who are going to be there. It is the recruitment process that is the problem, because it's zoned, this zoning thing where countries will have to bring, and at times it boils down to party loyalists, because if you are going to see anybody representing country A or B, if you are not in the good books of government, you are not likely going to be nominated. So that is, but we would like to see, for instance, at least for the president of the commission, to do what AU is doing, get experts, some consultants to look at, to handle that recruitment, so that you have the best. Advertise it, and then let everybody apply. Because that will be a point of entry. The other 6 can come from all these other ones, but the one, because you are not telling me that in a country, even if it is zoned, you still have to get the best. But that is not happening now.
You mentioned the AU. And some African, experts and the rest will be wondering that is the AU a best, example to this situation.
No. What the point is not nothing is completely or totally bad. At least AU saw that they were moving somewhere, and then Kagame and other people, after Madam Zuma finished, they saw that they were moving towards. They
were drifting.
So they said, okay, listen, let us, because our chairmanship or chairperson was divisive in 2012, and so nothing happened. So they now went for the reforms and said, okay, let us have a way of, and you are going to bring Africans to do that. There are Africans, there is more foundation, there are others that can sit down and give AU and all the regional economic communities the kind of leadership that will drive, because they are supposed to be the engine of this integration or unity that we are talking about. Without the regional economic communities, there is nothing AU can do. You have seen AU, what is happening there. They can't even quench the fire in Ethiopia, where they are based. So how can they you are right. They are
not the best example.
Yeah, in terms of, now it is
in terms of leadership,
yes,
in terms of integrating Africa,
yes,
in terms of, having
yes,
one common currency, like the euro in Europe.
Yes,
sorry, Paul.
Yeah.
Let's quickly look at the president of the ECOWAS court and what they came up with. 301 judgments, in the sub-region. Only just about 30% have been honored. That's supposed to be, a great instrument where justice, fairness, unity, and the rest are, co-driven.
I mentioned something here that charity begins at home. These are parliamentarians that are sent to the ECOWAS court by their member countries. What is the level of compliance of court? What is the judiciary? How does it look? How is the justice system in most of these countries? So if it is not, it is garbage in, garbage out. So if they are not, don't expect them to do magic when they come to the regional level. When at the national level, they cannot deliver. So that is the challenge. So it has to happen from at home, and then you extrapolate that to the regional level.
So there is an ingrained mentality, and that now dovetails to a kind of incapacity where people can't really get justice then.
That is varying towards that, and that is because they lack. One is the political will. When people talk about political will, but if judgment is given against a country, and that country has signed, is a signatory to the ECOWAS protocol, why would you not adhere to it? Why will you not, comply? So it borders on leadership, from leadership at the national level, and then moves to the regional level. And so they have to work at it. And the judiciary and the parliament in all the countries must now sit up to deliver justice to their citizens, to their nationals, before you now talk about giving justice to community citizens. Because if you don't do that, I don't see how there's no magic. You can't give what you don't have.
So, as an global, affairs expert and one who studied all the nuances in the ECOWAS Treaty and Act, are you suggesting, or will you be suggesting, a kind of rejigging of some of the contents of that treaty?
Chris, these instruments are there. The devil is in the implementation. Have they actually implemented what is there before you now begin to talk? Because it's very easy to say when there is any issue, say change or amend. And that is part of the problem. We see where amendments of constitution has landed most of the countries. They are not doing it with the kind of
favor.
With the interest of the masses at heart. If they are going to do it, they are looking at their selfish interests. So it is not, you can, because at the time laws are made, that is why you have provision for amendments. But have they really tried what they have? Let them obey. Do you require another law to make you obey, comply with the judgment that you have signed? That otherwise, why did you set up the community court? It was part of the 1993 revised treaty that brought both the parliament, the court, and all that. So if you don't, and the justices, all of them are also they also come from the countries. So if but we don't want to have a situation where the food is not good and the soup is not good.
No, right.
So let us have something at least. So let them start from their own home places.
That's very proverbial. Thanks so very much, Paul Ejime. He's a global affairs analyst for coming always.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We will kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you and remain blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.